Okay, so have you ever felt kind of stuck? Like you really want to improve things, build better habits, maybe, but you just don't know where to start.
That feeling of being on a hamster wheel.
Exactly. Or maybe you've wondered, how can these tiny little steps, these almost invisible changes, actually lead to, well, big, lasting change?
Yeah, it seems counterintuitive sometimes.
Right. Well, if any of that sounds familiar, you're definitely in the right place. Today we're doing a deep dive into a really fantastic book, James Clear's Atomic Habits.
It's a game changer for a lot of people.
It really is. Our mission today, basically, is to give you a kind of shortcut to understanding the core ideas of Atomic Habits. We'll share some surprising bits, maybe have a little fun with it, too.
Sounds good.
So at its heart, Clear introduces this really fundamental idea. These tiny, incremental improvements, what he calls atomic habits, they're not just small tweaks.
No, they're building block.
Precisely. They add up, they accumulate over time, and they produce these really remarkable results. He uses this great analogy, like the rudder of a ship.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
A tiny shift, you barely see it, but over a long journey, completely different destination. So if you commit to getting, just say, 1% better every single day.
Which sounds manageable, right?
1%.
Totally manageable. But the compound effect, Clear calculates, you could be literally 37 times better in just 1 year.
Wow. That's staggering when you put it like that.
It really is. And it just hammers home that real success isn't usually some big dramatic event. It's a process, right?
Yeah.
Built through those small, consistent, everyday actions.
And what I find fascinating and what Atomic Habits really emphasizes is this shift away from just focusing on goals. Those big, maybe overwhelming targets we set?
Like I want to lose 30 pounds or I want to write a novel.
Exactly. Instead, the book guides you towards building robust systems. The whole idea is if you get the right system in place, like a reliable process, the success kind of follows naturally.
It's about setting yourself up to succeed, almost automatically.
Yeah, engineering your routine for progress. I love that. And that's really what we want to unpack today, that practical, science-backed framework from the book. We'll look at how you can, finally ditch those stubborn bad habits.
The ones that just seem to stick around no matter what.
Those are the ones.
Yeah.
And also how to adopt good ones, make them feel easy, make them stick.
Okay, so the big question then is, how? How do we actually do that?
Right.
And Clear gives us a really powerful answer. His 4 laws of behavior change. And these aren't just like random rules he made up.
They're based on psychology, right?
Yeah.
How our brains work.
Exactly. Deeply rooted in how we're wired. And if you understand these laws, you can actually make habits work for you instead of feeling like you're constantly fighting your own instincts.
Okay, let's break them down. This is the really actionable stuff. Law number 1.
Law 1, make it obvious.
Make it obvious. Simple enough. What does that mean in practice?
Well, it means making the cues for your good habits incredibly visible, unmissable almost. Put your running shoes by the door, leave the book you want to read on your pillow.
So you're making this starting point super clear, super easy to see.
Precisely. And the flip side is just as important for bad habits. Make them invisible.
Okay, hide the cookie jar.
Basically, yeah. Or, remove the TV remote from the coffee table if you watch too much TV. Take the batteries out even. Reduce the exposure to the cue.
So you're engineering your environment, making the good path obvious and the bad path less obvious.
You got it. Out of sight, out of mind. Quite literally.
Makes sense. Okay, what's law number 2?
Law 2, make it attractive.
Attractive. Okay, how do we make, flossing attractive?
Well, maybe not flossing itself, but you link it to something you do find attractive. Our brains are drawn to pleasure, to rewards.
Right, the dopamine hit.
Exactly. So Clear talks about temptation bundling. You pair something you want to do with something you need to do.
Like I only get to watch my favorite trashy TV show while I'm on the treadmill.
Perfect example. Or maybe you only listen to your absolute favorite podcast while you're doing chores.
Okay, I see. So you're borrowing the attractiveness of one thing and attaching it to the habit you want to build.
Yes, you're making the anticipation of the habit more appealing, that neurochemical glue, as you said. It makes you want to do that habit to get the reward.
Cool. Okay, law 3.
Law 3.
Make it easy.
This sounds, easy. But I suspect there's more to it.
There is. It's deceptively simple. The key is minimizing the effort required to start the habit, reducing that activation energy.
That friction you feel right before you do something, like getting off the couch.
Exactly that friction.
Yeah.
The less friction there is to start, the more likely you are to actually do it. Think of the 2-minute rule.
Ah, yes. If it takes less than 2 minutes, just do it now.
Right. Or even just scale down the habit itself to take less than 2 minutes. Want to read more? Just read 1 page. Want to exercise? Just do 10 push-ups.
So it's about lowering the barrier to entry so much that you can't say no.
Precisely. Get the momentum going. The starting is often the hardest part. Once you've started, it's easier to continue. Okay, obvious, attractive, easy. What's the final piece?
The crucial fourth law. Make it satisfying.
Satisfying. So this is about the reward after the habit.
Yes, and critically, it needs to be an immediate reward. Our brains are wired for instant gratification. Behaviors that feel good right away are much more likely to be repeated.
But lots of good habits don't have immediate payoffs, right? Like saving money or eating healthy.
Yeah.
The reward is down the line.
That's the challenge, and that's why this law is so important. You need to find a way to inject some immediate satisfaction into the process.
How, though?
It could be something small, like using a habit tracker and getting the satisfaction of checking off the box. Or maybe transferring $1 to your savings account immediately after skipping an impulse purchase and seeing the balance grow.
Or even just pausing for a second and acknowledging, hey, I did the thing. A mental pat on the back.
Absolutely. That positive feedback loop, even a small one, tells your brain, that felt good, let's do it again. It reinforces the behavior right away.
Wow. Okay, so those 4 laws, make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, make it satisfying.
Yeah.
That's a really practical toolkit.
It really is. It covers the full cycle of habit formation, from cue to reward.
And you can apply it to pretty much anything, right? Reading, exercise, productivity, learning a language.
Anything you want to make a consistent part of your life, or anything you want to remove from your life. By inverting the laws, make it invisible, unattractive, difficult, and unsatisfying.
Right, the inversion is powerful too.
Yeah.
Okay, so beyond these 4 laws, which are super practical, the book also touches on some bigger ideas, some mindset shifts almost.
Definitely. It zooms out a bit.
Yeah. One of the big ones is this idea that systems are more important than goals. And you unpack that a bit.
Sure. So goals are great for setting direction. Like, I want to run a marathon. That's your target.
Okay.
But the system is your training plan, laying out your running shoes the night before, your stretching routine, your nutrition. It's the process that gets you to the goal.
Ah, so the goal is the result. The
Yes.
system is the set of habits that produces the result.
Exactly. And Clear argues that if you focus on improving your system, the goals will kind of take care of themselves. Winners and losers often have the same goals. It's the systems that differentiate them.
That's a powerful thought. So spend less energy dreaming about the finish line and more energy refining the steps to get there.
That's the core idea. Fall in love with the process, not just the product.
Okay, another huge concept in the book is identity-based habits. This one really struck me.
Oh yeah, this is fundamental. It flips the script on how we usually think about change.
How so?
Well, often we focus on the outcome. I want to lose weight, or the process. I need to go to the gym. Identity-based habits start with who you want to become.
So instead of I want to run, it's I am a runner.
Precisely. The goal isn't just to run a race. The goal is to become a runner. Each time you go for a run, you're casting a vote for that identity. You're reinforcing the belief, I am this type of person.
And that's more powerful because it's tied to your self-image.
Much more powerful. Because true behavior change is identity change. When your habits align with the person you believe yourself to be, they become much easier to maintain. It feels natural, not like a struggle.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like you're living into that identity with each small action.
You are. You're building evidence for your desired identity.
Okay. Another related point is the importance of environment. We touched on this with make it obvious, but it seems bigger than just cues.
It is. Your environment is like the invisible hand shaping your behavior. Clear emphasizes how much our surroundings influence our choices, often unconsciously.
So designing your space is crucial.
Absolutely. It's about creating an environment where the desired behaviors are easier, or even the default option, and undesired behaviors are harder. Setting up your choice architecture, as you said earlier.
Like putting the fruit bowl on the counter and hiding the cookies in the back of the cupboard.
Simple examples, but yes. Or unsubscribing from tempting email newsletters. Or setting up your workspace for focus. You're essentially making good decisions in advance, so you don't have to rely on willpower in the moment.
Which we all know is pretty unreliable sometimes.
Very finite, yeah.
And finally, there's a reminder that feels necessary, I guess. The role of time and patience.
Ah, yes. The crucial ingredient that's often overlooked. Habits don't form overnight.
No, definitely not.
Hmm.
We expect progress to be linear, don't we? Like you put in effort, you see results immediately.
We do. But Clear talks about the plateau of latent potential. You put in work, 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 and it feels like nothing's happening.
The valley of disappointment.
Exactly. And then suddenly you break through and the results seem to explode upwards. That's the power of compounding. But you have to stick with it through that initial flat period.
So consistency and patience are maybe the real superpowers here.
They absolutely are. That steady, persistent effort, even when it feels small, is what builds momentum and leads to that significant change over time.
So wrapping this all up, our deep dive into atomic habits really shows that these tiny, almost insignificant seeming decisions and actions, when they compound, that's where extraordinary results come from.
It really turns the idea of massive overnight success on its head, doesn't it? It reinforces that success is far more often a product of consistent daily habits than some single heroic effort.
It's a continuous process, not a destination.
Exactly. And hopefully, understanding some of the science behind why these small habits work, using those 4 laws can help you leverage them effectively.
Absolutely. So this discussion, this deep dive, it's really just scratching the surface, a starting point for you, the listener. How could you start applying some of these ideas? What's maybe one tiny thing?
Yeah, maybe take a second and think. How are your habits right now shaping the person you're becoming tomorrow, next month, next year? And based on those 4 laws we talked about, obvious, attractive, easy, satisfying, what's one single small action you could tweak? Just one thing you could make a tiny bit more obvious or more attractive or easier or more satisfying starting today.
What's that first atomic habit you could build to step towards the identity you want?
It's a powerful question to sit with.
It really is. We hope this inspires you to maybe start that journey or continue it, focusing on those small wins, one atomic habit at a time, moving towards becoming the person you want to be.